Posh Rat Short Story, an audiobook series, Episode 1. A rat of many colors. Long ago, before humans built London, there was just a river surrounded by grassy hills and trees. It was the domain of furry things that scurry. I'm talking about rats. When humans began building, the rats took to the nooks and crannies, and also underground for a while. Then the humans, or overgrounders as they're called, started digging to make subways. Rats went even farther down. But like I said, that was ages ago, before this whole beautiful, bustling underground rat city existed. Who am I and why am I telling you this? We'll get to that in a moment, for my story started more recently. You could say it began the day I met Reginald Twitch, or Posh Rat as he's known. Folks call him Posh Rat because of his father, Finnicus Twitch. Yes, that Finnicus Twitch, the one whose face is on the largest cheese coin, the stingy cheese marshal millionaire rat. That is Poshy's dad. As heir to the Twitch fortune, young Poshy was recently promoted as the undergrounds to Bedtime, overseer of roads, tunnels, and waterways. This was a job in which he had no real interest. You see, Poshy didn't know quite what he wanted to be until the day we met. That was the day in the underground that rat tube trains began pulling into the stations, all streaked with bright, vibrant colors. Very strange. The rat train carriages that were normally a dull silver gray were now daubed and striped in any number of the most spectacular hues. Reginald, Poshy's dad, called him that. As newly appointed Twitch family to Bedtime, you need to oversee the tunnel team to figure out why our trains are being ruined by these awful colors. Well, Poshy knew not to say to his father that he thought the colors looked quite nice, actually. So, indeed, Poshy's crew of rat workers discovered a leak in the drainage pipe beneath the overgrounders' suite factory. Bing! Blue and bright green swirling streams were oozing down into the main underground tube tunnel, coloring the trains as they passed beneath it. It does dazzle the eyes, Poshy said. But don't just stare. Fix the leak. In a shower of sparks, the helmeted rat workers resealed the pipe, putting a stop to the colored oozing. We're done, sir. May we be on our way? The worker rats said, eager to get away from any member of the Twitch family, Poshy included. Well, the pipe looked secure, so before Poshy could finish his sentence, the crew of rat workers had scurried off. Alone in the tunnel, Poshy was about to leave when he noticed a crack of light coming from above the just repaired pipe. Help us! Poshy faintly heard small voices coming from behind the crack. He poked upward with his walking cane and the earthy tunnel ceiling crumbled a bit, to reveal even more bright light, pocketing his white gloves. Poshy climbed up the dirt wall toward the bright light. He poked his head through the hole and into what certainly looked like the inside of a laboratory. Indeed, it was a workroom in the overgrounders' sweets factory. Labeled boxes of lollipops, tubs of cotton candy, and jars of sparkling colorful treats sat in rows among the test tubes. Gadgets with dials and science equipment. And there on the desk by the tubs of colored gumballs stood a cage, crowded with rats. Lab rats, Poshy said as he blinked. Help us! The cage rats implored to the handsome rat with a tall top hat poking up from the floor. These lab rats were all brightly colored. Yellow, orange, red, purple, neon pink, sky blue, bright white, and midi green. The neon pink one is me. As I promised to explain, I am also a rat. My name is Pinkerton Barnes. Yes, I know. A pink rat named Pinkerton. Laugh if you must. I wasn't born this pink, mind you. I have a much more dignified flamingo shade beneath this neon gumball color. Anyway, I used to be free, but one day I got captured by the human overgrounders for experiments. Now I'm a lab rat with all these others. Can you imagine? It's quite embarrassing, really. So here we all were, in the presence of an actual Twitch. We recognize him from the telly. Though no one liked the Twitch as much, we couldn't deny his handsome looks. His black eyes twinkled in the glare of the laboratory lights. You're all different bright colors. It seemed Poshy had a wonderful way of stating the obvious. I spoke to him with my pink hands on the bars. We're being held here by the overgrounders. They're testing the gumball colors on our fur. It's downright undignified. Well, yes, it is, Poshy said, rubbing his clean gray chin in thought. You were all caught, though. Come now. I felt myself getting flushed as I stood up for myself and my fellow prisoners. You really not so posh as to think there are rats who deserve this sort of treatment. Posh Rat clambered out of the hole in the floor and onto the table where our cage sat. He stood close enough for me to appreciate the fine hand-stitching of his three-piece wool suit. Dear sir, have a heart, the blue rat said. We ain't seen our families in months, said the green. Oh, he won't help us. He's the Posh. The purple rat scowled. No twitch would save a lowly street rat. Reginald Posh Rat twitched paws to look at us. But at last he shrugged, turned and let his climbing rope uncoil from the table to the floor. That's right. Go home to your father's piles of cheese coins. The red rat jeered as Poshy began to lower himself down from the table. Wait, I said. You don't have to be like all the other twitches. You know, you don't have to be like your father. Poshy's brow whiskers flattened. There was now a different twinkle in his eye. I knew I'd gotten to him. Poshy pulled himself back up onto the table and over to our cage. With the flair of a seasoned swordsman, he flipped open the latch with his cane, and I thrusted the cage door wide open. Hurry, he said. I hear footsteps. Like a squeaking rainbow waterfall, we all scurried out of our cage, down the rope and through the hole in the floor where Poshy had entered. The rats all hurried off in different directions, leaving just Posh and me standing face to face in the tunnel. I took his impeccably manicured paw in my paw. Sir, take me with you. You'll need an assistant, I imagine. An assistant, he said, tilting his head. Well, of course, I replied, smiling. Every hero needs a sidekick. Posh Rat's short story and audiobook series. Episode to crocodile shock strings of small golden lights lit the busy city streets. Throughout the underground, it was the normal Monday morning bustle of rats in hats and frock coats, carrying briefcases into crowded train carriages. Speedy mouse-drawn wagons pulled lady rats, holding bags of breadcrumbs and rice. Rats on bicycles passed bundles of dried corn to other worker rats in small boats at the loading docks. Nannies pushed little hairless rat babies tucked into their prams. Nothing but the usual business could be found in the skyless underworld, except for the extra sound of nervous whispering. Certain words stood out in the chatter. PSST, monster. PSST, PSST, scary beast. And then PSST, PSST, crocodile. Indeed. Rumors had started coming in last week from Talesington of a frightening hissing noise, which caused the scared delivery boat drivers to crash and spill their chocolate and peanut deliveries into the canal. Some believed the hissing noise was just a leaky steam pipe in a tunnel. As the undergrounds to Bedtime, Reginald Posh Rat Twitch was charged with leading his tubes and tunnel workers to get rid of the noise. But as they approached the dark tunnel in question, they saw what they thought were two yellow, glowing eyes. Posh's workers got so spooked they all fled home, locked their doors and hid under their beds. So that's where today's story begins, with scary rumors and terrified workers. You and I have met once before. I'm Pinkerton Barnes, Posh Rat's new sidekick, and as his sidekick, I was eager to help him in any way I could. I had devised some new gadgets I thought he might find useful. The first was a top hat. Look here, Poshy. Pressing this button launches the suction cup feature. I said, asterisk pop asterisk, the top hat top open like a lid. A suction cup on a cable shot and stuck to the ceiling. Oh, Barnes, it is impressive. Poshy's handsome whiskers wiggled. I've also spring-loaded this expanding trapper's net into your walking cane. I said, may come in handy, considering our mission. So we ventured out, just the two of us. Down the pitch-black tunnel, Poshy pressed a button on his shirt cuff. His top hat lamp lit up. I have always heard the legend about crocodiles living in the sewer system. Could it actually be true? I asked, walking directly behind Poshy along the damp brick walkway. His asterisk, the noise echoed down the tunnel from the darkness that lay beyond the beam of light from Poshy's top hat. Then, we both saw what it came from. I gulped. Maybe those are boat lights. Poshy was quiet. Floating in the blackness, gleaming back at us, were the yellow eyes with reptilian pupils. Asterisk is asterisk already then. Poshy kept a calm voice. We both swiveled on our heels and made our way back out the tunnel. Later in the drawing room of the Twitch mansion, Poshy and I stood over a rolled-out map of the underground tunnel system. Right here is where we encountered the creature in question. He tapped the map with his polished claw and continued. Indeed, we need a plan to capture and remove this beast. Precisely, Poshy, sir. That's all we need to do. Heh. I nervously scratched my chin. Oh, Barnes. Perhaps this is where we try out my walking cane's new expanding trapper's net. You believe it's strong enough? Yes. Well, I suppose there's no better first test than on a 20-foot-long sewer crocodile. My skin felt hot beneath my pink fur as I said that. Okay. Then, Poshy replied. Once we snare the alleged reptile, we drag it northward like so along the Whisker Canal. Then northwesterly out the standpipe at ground level. The water should make the dragging much easier. So back we went, walking the wet, dark tunnel in the glow of Poshy's hat torch. We had not heard any hissing noise yet, only our own footsteps and the gentle sloshing of the canal water. Poshy whispered, So, Barnes, I think our best bet would be to use my top hat's suction cup. It will enable me to hang above the beast from the tunnel ceiling so I can fire my net downward. Sounds like a good plan, sir. I hoped to myself that the net would hold. I believe it was right around here where we last saw. Asterisk is asterisk, there it was. Unblinking eyes and large rows of sharp white teeth glowed in Poshy's hat torch light. All right, Barnes, up I go. Poshy pressed his top hat button, firing out the suction cup and climbing wire. Asterisk pop asterisk Poshy swiftly rose to the ceiling on the wire. He called down, Once I launch the net, you jump on the beast's neck and secure it. Then I'll drop and take the tail. The long scaly creature let out another angry sounding asterisk as SSSSSS dot asterisk OK. Barnes. On 3. 1. 2 Posh. Yes, Barnes. You're very brave, sir. Perhaps, Mr. Barnes. I shall change people's minds as to what it means to be a Twitch. 3. Poshy pointed his walking cane downward, then asterisk PLO of FF. Asterisk the dark green scaly monster was wrapped in stretchy netting. It worked, Barnes. Now jump. And I did. As we both landed on the creature's back, the hissing grew even louder. Its head and tail raised up at the same time. Oh, it's angry, sir. Do be careful. I called to Poshy, who grasped tightly and rode the croc's tail as it moved upward. Oddly, I started to sink into the creature's back. Yes, the beast seemed very soft, almost bouncy, you'd say. Aha, Barnes' old chum. With a gleam in his eye, Poshy reached behind the beast's leg. Oh, please watch out, I said as I held on tightly to the netting. Looks like we can just roll it up, Poshy said, grinning. Beg your pardon, sir. POFFFFFFF asterisk. Poshy opened the air valve and the whole creature began quickly flattening down as we jumped aside. Well, I declare, Barnacy, the hissing noise folks were hearing was just a leak in some overgrounder child. As blow-up swimming toy. It wasn't a terrifying beast at all. Poshy plopped his top hat back upon his handsome head. But that small detail, Poshy winked, can be between you and me. Posh Rat short story and audiobook series, episode 3 Whiskery Business. As I looked out the library window of the Twitch mansion over the main stretch of Ratford Street, I noticed something was different. Along with the normal bustle of rat travelers, there seemed to be a new and unusual kind of energy. Groups were pausing and taking more pictures of themselves than usual. Apparently, a new trend in whisker shaping had taken hold of the underground. Traveling whisker wax salesman Victor Verman had set up a stand in the merchant's row of Ratsford Square. His whisker sculpting wax had become wildly popular, especially with the men and boy rats who used it to fashion curling mustaches, pointy beards and sideburns flaring skyward. Rats of every age strutted around town showing off their new and wild stylings. Even I, Mr. Pinkerton Barnes, purchased my own tube of Victor Vermin's Whisker Wander. I stood at the mirror and examined the grinning rat on the tube's golden label. I then squeezed a dollop of the creamy wax into my palm, right as our hero Reginald Posh Rat Twitch stepped into the room. Oh now, dear Barnes, don't tell me Whisker Mania has gotten to you as well, though. Hey, hey, Poshy, no, I was just, people should be themselves, interrupted Posh, rather than jumping on fads that go as quickly as they come. Of course, Poshy, you're right. I wiped the paste from my palm into my handkerchief. We looked out the window. Together at busy Radford Street, a group of teenage rats had sculpted their eye whiskers into big perfect circles, and were taking a group selfie, even after Victor Vermin, the wax salesman, had packed his cart and moved on to the next village. Joyful whisker-shaping contests were held and folks were really enjoying themselves until they weren't the next day. I was watching the drawing room telly. The news rat came on with a special bulletin. UNN, Underground News Network, breaking news. Rats are claiming their whiskers are falling out at alarming rates. Experts believe it is related to the recent whisker sculpting craze sweeping the underground. Poshy walked in. You hear that, Poshy? I asked over my shoulder. They're reporting that the Whisker Wander wax is now making everyone's whiskers fall. I turned toward him and stopped. Reginald Posh Rat Twitch stood before me, with nitrogen monoxide whiskers. He was totally bald of his classic rat feelers. Oh yes, you needn't say anything, Mr. Barnes. I got what I deserved. But you shouldn't have left your tube of that stuff lying around. I tried not to smile. He actually still looked quite handsome with his whiskerless face. Well, never mind all this, said Poshy. We've got a bigger problem. Seems as though there are bad foot traffic pileups along the walkways. So, I need to tell you, in case you didn't know, a rat losing its whiskers is a big deal. We use them for navigating passages, to gauge widths, sizes, and distances. Without them, we'd go rather dizzy. The neighborhood is in chaos, Barnes. But as you can see, I'm in no shape to go running about myself. Just then, there was a commotion on the street. It took a moment to realize what I was seeing. Several rats were wearing ball-shaped, colored helmets with several skinny antennae sticking out of each side. I called out the window. What's that you're wearing, mate? A robotic whisker helmet. The chap yelled back to me. Some genius inventor guy is selling them in the marketplace. They're brilliant, OOF. Excuse me, sir. The rat had bonk helmets with another rat who was wearing similar headgear and walking the opposite direction. I leaned further out the window and gazed down Radford Street. Dozens and dozens of rats were wearing the same headgear in different colors. Now, as an inventor myself, I had to admit it was an intriguing device. But I noticed that those wearing them were clacking into each other, thumping into buildings, falling down holes. These robotic whisker helmets were certainly not working. Poshy donned his top hat and held my arm for steadiness as we headed down to the marketplace to find the rat who was selling these helmets. As we approached the display of colorful metal headgear, the salesman pushed his glasses up his long nose and extended his paw. Helmet Wilhelm at your service. Hey baldface. Looks like you need a Wilhelm whisker helmet. Choose your color. Only 100 cheese notes. Great. Price. Excuse us one moment, please, I said and then pulled Poshy out of the queue. I took the tube of Whisker Wonder wax from my vest pocket. Look at the label of this tube. Yes. What about it? Poshy squinted at the rat on the label. If Posh still had his whiskers, this is when they would have flattened. Poshy looked at the helmet seller, who was stuffing another wad of cheese notes into his money sack, then back at the rat on the Whisker Wonder wax label. That's him. Without the glasses, Poshy straightened and pointed toward the salesman. Stop right there. Nobody buy another helmet. This rat is the same rat who sold us the wax that made our whiskers fall out. He's a crook. That's right. Helmet Wilhelm as Victor Vermin, the helmet salesman, took off. Running. Get him, yelled Poshy. Victor Vermin sprinted up Ratford Street. In a fateful moment, a helmet-wearing rat tripped and fell in front of him, which caused the crook to fall and spill his sack of money. Hundreds of paper cheese notes flew into the air and onto the pavement, right at the feet of a rat policeman. All right, Victor Vermin, the game is up. The crook squinted his angry eyes and growled directly at Poshy as the police rat led him away in handcuffs. Thankfully, the rat court made Victor Vermin give everyone their money back before they banished him from town. Life in the underground grew steadily less wobbly over the next few weeks. Thank goodness some trends don't last, and whiskers grow back. Posh Rat's short story and audiobook series, Episode 4, Portrait of a Rat. It was a normal Wednesday afternoon in the underground. That is, until Reginald Posh Rat Twitch walked into the library. He plopped his top hat onto the desk where Mr. Barnes, sat tinkering with his walking cane. What do you think, Poshy? I said. This will be a fine addition to our new line of Pinkertech gadgets. Poshy's whiskers twitched the way they do when he is nervous. Grandma's gone, he declared. As her ghost finally stopped haunting the back garden, I asked, No, I'm talking about her portrait. The painting of Grandma is missing from my father's parlor. Stolen, you say. Is there a chance someone borrowed it? I suggested. Who borrows paintings? Just then, the famous Finnicus Twitch entered the room. Hello, Father. Poshy stood up straighter. You always know Father Twitch is coming. His feet and cane sound like a three-legged horse wearing tap shoes. Clack, clack, tack, clack, clack, tack. Reginald, I need you to do me a favor. Your Uncle Gregor borrowed the portrait of Grandma. He wanted it in the background of his own portrait. That painting has been finished, and now Grandma's portrait is ready to be picked up. Finnicus explained. But do be very careful with that painting. It's one of a kind, just like your dear grandmother. Rest her soul. Father Twitch pulled the handkerchief from his pocket and blew his nose as he clacked. Clack, tack it out of the library. Poshy and I blinked at each other. Well, then, it seems people do borrow paintings, Poshy said. He placed his top hat back onto his handsome head. Will you join me on this task, Mr. Barnes? His whiskers wiggled, naturally. I buttoned my waistcoat. The journey down the canal to Uncle Gregor's house was uneventful. We fetched the precious artwork easily. It had already been placed inside a cloth sack. However, the return journey was rather eventful. You see, I enjoy a bit of painting myself, so I was very curious to see the portrait up close. Poshy rowed the boat as I pulled the portrait from its cloth sack. Oh, dear Barnes, what are you doing? Be careful. That's a one-of-a-kind portrait. You heard Father. Please put it away. Poshy paused his rowing. Oh, Poshy, don't fret, good friend. Look, the painting is beautiful. I love the green jewel your grandma is wearing. I turned to show him. Very fine, indeed. Such detail in the fur. As well, okay. That's quite enough. Wrap it back up before it, asterisk splash. Asterisk Poshy accidentally knocked the painting with his oar. It went right into the water. Barnes, what have I done? Fear not, Poshy. I'll save the painting. I jumped overboard and rescued it. Then I climbed back into the small boat. There we are. Not to worry. Its gasp, the paint, was washed away. Just a faded bit of Grandma's head and shoulders remained. Oh, Poshy, I cried, now dripping wet. This is troublesome. Your father will. Oh, I hate to think of it. I paused inside. Poshy, I'll take the blame. Your father dislikes me already. Nonsense, Mr. Barnes. He calls me Mr. Barnes when he's serious. We must be able to fix it somehow. Didn't you say you knew how to paint? Poshy asked. Well, I didn't know how to use a paintbrush, but I don't know about this. I said, if you look closely, you can use the faded image as a guide. Do you have proper paints? Poshy's whiskers wiggled a lot as he asked this. Well, yes, Poshy, I do. I suppose it's our only chance, isn't it? I felt pretty nervous too, but we made it back to the Twitch mansion. then got to the supply room unnoticed by Poshy's father. I found my art supplies and got ready to paint. Some parts of the painting were too faint to see, so I did my best to remember what was there. The details in Grandma Twitch's fur, her glasses, her long, yellow teeth, her thin, white whiskers. My hand shook as I painted. Then, I finally turned the painting towards Poshy. His eyes grew wide. "What? Say something. Is it okay?" I swallowed. "Barnacy. He calls me Barnacy when he is amazed. It's perfect." "You did it. You are a good painter. No one will tell the difference." "Brilliant, brilliant." We hung the painting in the parlor and celebrated with a small lunch of chips, peas, and iced tea. Then we took another look at the painting. That's when we noticed the green jewel, we both said at the same time. I had forgotten to paint in the little green jewel. How could I have forgotten? I kicked myself. Your dad will surely notice. Before I could go get my paintbrush, we heard those footsteps. Clack, clack, tack. "Oh, dear Gouda," I said. "I don't have time to fix it. What are we going to do?" Poshy's whiskers flattened in deep thought. Then, he swept up the straw from his iced tea and took a single pea from his lunch plate. He popped the pea into the straw and *P2A*. Posh Rat spit the pea onto the painting right where the green jewel should be, all just before Father Twitch turned the corner and clack, clack, tack it into the parlor. Ah, there she is, back where she belongs over the fireplace. Sometimes Father Twitch sounds like he is smiling even, though his rat mouth always frowns. You know, it's funny. I never noticed how lifelike Grandma's eyes were in this painting. Father Twitch leaned toward the portrait and squinted, and how the little green jewel really stands out and shines. Poshy's dad turned slowly on one foot and clack, clack, tack it back out of the parlor. Indeed, he continued from the doorway. I'll have the butler call the artist and get him to paint the whole family. Posh Rat's short story and audiobook series, episode 5, A Mole in One. In the study of the Twitch mansion, I strapped a new pair of goggles onto the head of Reginald. Posh Rat Twitch. When these goggles are finished, they'll allow you to see in the dark better than any other rat, I said. Poshy looked around the room through the goggles. Another fine Pinkertech gadget in the making, dear Barnes. Brilliant work. My pink fur hid my blushing cheeks. The Twitch family's butler knocked on the open study door. Knock, knock, come in, Herman. Poshy said. The thin butler wore a very large bow tie. There is news of trouble at the Whiskersmith tube station. Poshy's whiskers wiggled. Herman continued. The police are downstairs. They have caught someone messing with the station's ticket machines. Poshy went downstairs. There were two rat policemen holding onto a short figure. The man was wearing an argyle coat and polka dot trousers, dull claws and gray. Furry hands stuck out of his sleeves. One police rat spoke. Mr. Twitch, sir, this rat here was caught putting tiny pancakes into all the slots of the ticket machines. Passengers cannot buy tickets because the slots are now filled with pancake. Poshy raised an eyebrow and asked the short rat, what's the meaning of this, sir? Tiny pancakes, tiny pancakes. The short, nervous rat repeated. Then he raised his head. He had dark, gray fur and tiny slits for eyes. He's a mole, not a rat, I whispered. How interesting. We didn't see many of them in this neighborhood. I promise it was an accident. An accident, the mole explained. I grabbed my bag of tiny pancakes this morning instead of cheese coins. It's my darned eyes. Darned eyes. He looked in Poshy's direction. It's a shame the mole couldn't really see Poshy's handsome whiskers. Well, I could ask why someone keeps tiny pancakes in a bag, Posh Rat said. But instead, I must insist you are sent to jail. Oh, not jail. Not jail. The mole shook, tears coming from his tiny eyes. He really did seem harmless. This gave me an idea. I whispered into Poshy's ear. You know, Poshy, he reminds me of a certain rat in need you once rescued from a laboratory cage. Oh, Mr. Barnes, you were different. We can't bring this mole into the mansion, just for a while. His eye trouble is exactly what I need to test my night sight goggles. I might even help him see better as well. So, indeed, we took in the mole named Barnaby Raisin. A week went by. Our work was going well. The goggles are too tight, Barnaby Raisin said to me. He sat in the study wearing large goggles. But I can see more than I could yesterday. Poshy and his father, Finnegas Twitch, stood together just outside the study. Herman says that some of our precious old vases are gone and have been replaced by cheap fakes, said Finnegas. Moles are sneaky creatures and you can't trust them. They get up to who knows what, father. You must trust me, said Poshy. He nervously fiddled with one of his white gloves. I assure you, Mr. Raisin is harmless. Remember, Reginald, Finnegas said through his long teeth. Who you choose to bring into this house has an effect on all of us, father. It's my house as well, Poshy said. Certainly, I have some say as to who I bring into it, Father Twitch sneered. Huffed and clicked his cane loudly on the floor. Asterisk clack clack. Asterisk then he walked away. So, another week's worth of testing went on. The mole could see quite clearly with my Pinkertech goggles. Barnaby Raisin saw his own reflection in the mirror. Dear heavens, I can see. My argyle jacket clashes with these polka dot trousers. Polka dot trousers. That's when Father Finnegas Twitch came back again. We have a thief in our midst. Father Twitch stood at the doorway with Herman the butler. A thief? What do you mean? Father, look, Finnegas held up a vase. This vase is a fake. The mole has been stealing our real vases and replacing them with wooden fakes. The butler held up a precious old vase. He pulled off his white glove and tapped it with his claw. Asterisk tack tack asterisk. It's wood, not the real thing, Finnegas said. He stood in the doorway of the study. There were footsteps in the hallway. Finnegas had brought the rat police. That's the thief. Barnaby Raisin, Finnegas yelled and pointed his cane. Grab him. The police rushed in and took Barnaby Raisin by the shoulders. They began to walk him out of the study. It wasn't me. The mole whimpered. He's telling the truth, Posh Rat yelled. The police paused at the doorway. Posh's father tapped his cane on the floor. Asterisk clack. Asterisk why must you insist on standing up for this, mole? Finnegas asked. I take responsibility. I said. My testing. No. Barnes. Poshy said as he stepped forward. Father, it was me. I am to blame. What on earth are you talking about, Reginald? Finnegas said as he squinted at Poshy. I approved Barnes to develop his new goggles. There were many eyesight tests, and well, things got broken. Poshy continued. Vases were bumped, some fell. I had copies created to replace the items. You made the fakes, Finnegas Twitch huffed and clacked his cane. Asterisk clack, asterisk. Release the mole, Finnegas said to the police. It seems this is a family matter. Thank you. Father, Poshy said. You see, these goggles actually work now. They may actually help Ratkin see better in the dark. I thought that was worth some old vases. We'd like to keep Mr. Raisin around as well, I said. The mole is a great assistant for me. He can help me test all the new Pinkertech gadgets. Grr. Finnegas Twitch grumbled and walked out. Poshy put his paw on Barnaby Raisin's shoulder and gave him a charming wink. The mole also makes the most delicious tiny pancakes. Posh Rat's short story and audiobook series, Episode 6, Tennis Lemons, Match Point. The robot voice buzzed through its speaker. It gently launched the tennis ball from its tube-arm. Asterisk the wop. Asterisk it swung its other arm, which was a racket. Asterisk pock. Asterisk its serve was very fast. Poshy hit the ball back. It flew past the robot. Posh Rat wins, the robot said. Final score, Posh Rat 3, Tennis Bot 2. Barnacy, your new tennis bot is wonderful, Poshy said to me. You could make it harder to beat. Though, indeed, sir, I said. You do enjoy a good challenge. Poshy wiped his handsome face with his towel, which had his initials stitched on it. RT stood for his real name. Reginald Twitch, I do enjoy a challenge, Barnes, said Poshy confidently. Back in my workshop, I cranked up the robot's settings and switched some circuits. I even doubled the battery power. The next day, I tested the tennis bot on our mole assistant, Barnaby Raisin. If you twist the dial, you can choose the skill level of tennis bot, I said, demonstrating. Ready, sir. Ready, sir. Barnaby wore his white tennis kit. His tiny slit eyes blinked through the new Pinker Tech Power Eye goggles. I pressed tennis bot's start button. It launched a ball into the air. Asterisk ploop. Asterisk its racket arm swung. Asterisk pow. Asterisk the ball rocketed across the net. Asterisk thump. Asterisk it knocked poor Barnaby Raisin out of his trainers. Woo, my fault, Barnaby said with a smile. I was never a sportsman. Oh no, Mr. Raisin. I went too far with my new fixes, I said. Across the court, the robot sucked tennis balls off the ground with its tube arm. Asterisk thoop asterisk asterisk thoop asterisk the robot might be too dangerous. Even for Poshy, I said as I pulled Barnaby to his feet. Oh, here he comes. Posh Rat walked onto the court. Herman, the family butler, followed. Lemon drink anyone, he said, carrying a silver tray balancing a jug and lemons. As he set it onto the table, a lemon tumbled onto the court. The robot quickly sucked up the lemon with its arm. Asterisk thoop. Asterisk the robot thinks the lemon is a tennis ball. Tennis ball, chuckled Barnaby. Heavens, I said. Tennis bot does need further repair. Tennis bot versus Posh Rat. The robot stood ready to serve, but Poshy was still getting his racket out of its case. Wait, I shouted at tennis bot, but the robot swatted the lemon dot asterisk POK. Asterisk it flew right towards Poshy's head. Poshy ducked and the lemon hit the wall. Asterisk whack. Asterisk go. My Barnes, I asked for a bigger challenge, not a food fight. The robot zipped towards the tray of lemons. More tennis balls. It's getting more lemons. More lemons. Barnaby repeated. The robot sucked up the lemons, then started serving them at Poshy. Asterisk pock. Asterisk asterisk pock. Asterisk asterisk pock. Asterisk duck. I yelled. I took a wrench from my waistcoat pocket and dashed towards the robot to fix it. But before I could reach it, a lorry drove by the mansion. It had a large picture of bright yellow lemons on its side. The robot saw the picture. Its eyes lit up. Get tennis balls. The wild robot revved its motor and burst through the mansion gate. Asterisk bang. Asterisk tennis bot chased the lorry down the road towards Ratford Square. Poshy and I chased behind it. Poshy. Barnes and the robot run behind an orange truck with a lemon picture on its side. The lorry was too fast to catch. But then a fruit stall caught tennis bot's eye. The robot's going for your lemons, I shouted to the rat standing by his display of citrus fruit. It thinks they're tennis balls, and sure enough, the robot sucked the whole pile of lemons into his tube arm. You have to pay for those. The rat shook his fist, and then saw Poshy. Aha, a twitch. I should have known. Thinks he owns the whole underground. It's not what you think, sir, Poshy called as we ran by. We chased the robot up the road as it swatted lemons at people. Mr. Barnes, Posh yelled. I must get in front of the robot so it hits the lemons at me instead of innocent strangers. Posh called and waved his racket. Tennis bot, over here. That's when we saw the marching band. Lines of horn players and drummers marched between Poshy and the tennis bot. There's a rat rainbow parade today, I exclaimed. Rats in a colorful parade have lemons flying towards them. The robot spotted a row of rats in the parade playing banjos. It served lemon after lemon at the marching banjo players. Asterisk pock, asterisk asterisk crash, asterisk tennis players. The robot called. Watch out, it thinks your banjos are rackets, I shouted. But it was too late. Asterisk playing, asterisk asterisk plowing, asterisk p-tang. Asterisk the poor banjoists were pelted by flying lemons. It thinks it's playing a tennis game, Poshy observed. It's programmed to follow tennis rules. Right, that was the idea, I said. And what would make a tennis player stop playing tennis? Poshy quickly scanned the area. Aha, Poshy ran to a flower shop. A rat was washing the pavement with his hose. Mind if I borrow this? Poshy asked him. The rat recognized Poshy. Not at all, Mertwitch. The robot stands in a crowd. Poshy aims a hose. Poshy aimed the hose towards the sky. He made the water shower over the parade and onto the robot. Tennis Bot paused and tilted its head upward. Rain, rain. The robot spoke, then froze. Game must pause for rain. Cannot play until rain has ended tilled. Poshy held the water stream steady over the robot. Well, Barnes, don't just watch. Go and turn off your robot. Poshy, Barnes and the robot stand together. I nodded and crossed through the parade. Then I shut down the Tennis Bot. Poshy turned off the hose. We stopped by the fruit stall and Poshy paid for the lemons. Then we went back to the Twitch mansion. Poshy, I said, maybe I'll run a few more tests before I show you my new Pinker Tech foot Balbit.